Welcome to the RG DFS Tournament Takes podcast. I'm your host, Chris Kirkwood, Kirk Geese. We're bringing the energy today. We unfortunately aren't bringing the picture for Bobby, but we will survive. Bobby is here. There's a nice picture with him and a couple of his boys there that you can look at while he's speaking. But we are back for week 13, 10-game slate. What's up, fellas? I'll start with you, Noto. How we doing?
Yeah, what's up? Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Ended up having a pretty decent slate myself. Got to see my fam, my girlfriend's fam. So, yeah, it was good. How about you, Kirk?
Yeah, I had a good Thanksgiving. It was relaxing. I was winning a lot of money, and then it kind of fizzled out. I did win, so that was fine. But yeah, it was good. It's then, we had to rush right into NBA yesterday and stuff like that. Still doing content though, but so I haven't done much, but it's been nice. I love Thanksgiving, like Christmas more. We're already have Christmas fever here for the kids, so we've got we're going all out for him this year, so that'll be exciting. It's all about the kids, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And anybody knows about kids, it's Bobby who's got two little ones right now. What's up, Bobby?
Doing well. Nice to hear you guys have had a good Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was good to me also. Had a very good one with family. So hope all the listeners out there had great Thanksgivings as well. And hopefully we can get into the slate pretty soon. Sorry about no picture.
No worries. And since we're talking about Thanksgiving, let's just bust it out now. Our Thanksgiving table here at RotoGrinders has a little something for everyone. This week only, we're letting you pick the discount. We're offering deals on all active sports, including 40 off your first month of Combo Pro and 50% off NBA annual package with a jam-packed action sports schedule this week. It's the perfect time to get premium access. So come join us and you'll give us a try. You'll like what we have. We got a little something for everyone, every sport. Sports are clicking. But let's talk about NFL. Interesting slate this week. Feels like pricing is kind of tight. It kind of feels like every other slate, really, for the most part, except a couple of them. There were strong plays at running back again. Wide receiver gets a little dicey. We've got David Moore chalk. There's always some new wide receiver priced down low at chalk, and I don't think we have to worry about too many low price quarterbacks for Noto to lose money on this week. So I'm just kidding. But do we have any really low price quarterbacks, Noto?
Not really. I mean, Bryce Young. Maybe.
Yeah. And that's going to be an interesting game to talk about too against the Pats in the cold. Oh yeah, last week sucked for me. I was crushing, and then Jaden Daniels had the most insane run out you could ever have against the chalk. So it was tough for me. It was great until all of a sudden things just flipped in like the last 1 minute, 2 minutes of the game. Craziness, but that is NFL. But big picture overview on this slate, Noto, how's it looking to you?
Yeah, I like the slate. Like you mentioned, a lot of value so far. The 3K wide receivers that always become chalky never work out, but maybe David Moore will work out for us this week. But yeah, one of my favorite games is Baltimore and Philly. Don't think it's going to garner a ton of ownership just because of the tight pricing, and I think that one has some serious shootout potential. We know, Baltimore, one of the best run defenses, one of the worst pass defenses. So Philly's passing game is something that I kind of want to be overweight on if possible. And yeah, I do like that Carolina-Tampa game if we think Carolina can put up any sort of fight. So I think it's an interesting slate, and excited to talk about it with you guys.
What about you, Bobby?
Yeah, definitely after last week, I'm excited to kind of get back. I had a little bit of a sweat last week in the high dollar millie and had the worst run out you could possibly have. Yeah, looking at I like that. Maybe I like the Carolina Tampa Bay game a little bit more than most people. Tampa Bay's defense has been leaky, so I don't mind. Well, I do mind Carolina Panthers players, but I think you can find run backs, and I do like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. Outside of that, I like the Vikings a little bit versus Arizona. Don't hate that game at all. No Patriots Colts. I do like the Baltimore Eagles game. Yeah, that should be the game of the slate. People might also if you're backloading, you're in a good spot, I would say, on this slate. It's kind of how it looks to me.
Yeah, I like that game as well. So the thing that like muddies up the Eagles games are like Saquon, right? Like it's like he's real expensive. It'd be nice if we get a passing game going, and this might just very well be the week. Stuck out to me is that the Ravens have allowed the third fewest rushing yards. They're like top 7 and fewest running back TDs. They allowed the most passing yards and top 3 in most passing TDs. So this could definitely be a shootout game. And so I'm interested to playing that with you guys. Maybe that's how we'll build our lineup at the end. But let's just go over the games quickly. We got 10 highest total. Is that Philly at Baltimore game? Baltimore Ravens are 3-point favorites, 50.5-point total. We got the Rams -2.5 traveling to New Orleans in the Dome, 49.5-point total. That game could go either way too, as well. I could definitely see that game shooting out. Chargers -1 at Atlanta with a 47.5-point total. Pitt at Cincy. Cincy's -3 with a 47.5-point total. That Tampa game we've been talking about, Tampa Bay -6 at Carolina. Juicy matchup for the Bucs, and the Bucs have terrible D, so that could be a nice recipe. 46.5-point total. And then Arizona at Minnesota. Minnesota's 3.5-point favorites with a 45-point total. I'll quickly cross-reference Thorman snaps and plates with Blitz most plays. Over at ETR Thorman snaps and pace, they've got the Rams at New Orleans up in pace, Philly at Baltimore up in pace, Pitt at Cincy. So those are the 3 kind of games that stood out to me at first as well. And then if we look at the Blitz for Cardi, he's got the Rams at New Orleans, Pitt at Cincy, and the only thing deviates is he's got the Seattle at the Jets game, which is interesting. But all right, we will do what we always do, and we will talk about all the plays. We'll talk about running back position first, because that's usually the best plays. We'll go over to quarterbacks, stack it up with our wide receivers, talk some tight ends, talk some defenses, make a lineup, and call it a show. Unless we go off the rails, who knows what could happen. But all right, let's start it off at the running back position. We've got a lot of chalk. So we've got Alvin Kamara, probably the top overall play, everyone's saying, and that's just from a usage standpoint. I mean, I don't know. I kind of want to fade him, especially after Taysom last week. It's just there is a floor there with this guy, and he hasn't broken too many slates. Problem is he hasn't been scoring touchdowns. Now, granted, if he does score some touchdowns, we might be in a lot of trouble if you fade him. But I'm not scared to fade him this week in tournaments. But I'll let you guys talk to me about that. Chase Brown just looks too cheap for his role. I think I read some stat where he has like all 81 of the last 81 running back touches or something like that. But ridiculous role, obviously. He's only 6,200. Cincy high-powered offense, tough matchup, but he could absolutely. It's all about usage. So then we got Bijan, who looks to have taken over the bell cow situation, except that if Algiers been faded out because he got stuffed at the goal line a couple weeks ago, but I'm not sure that's the case. They may they didn't play well in that game last week, period, but. Anyways, if we're believing the increase in snaps and usage, then he should be a smash. Kyron Williams is always there at 7,200. We do have to worry about Stafford throwing to Puka and Cup for touchdowns. And then there's Bucky Irving with the matchup. Joe Mixon is interesting to me. He's kind of lower owned because he's a little bit more expensive, but he has the absolute nut matchup too as well. So those are the 2 matchup plays, Bucky Irving at 5,800. And Joe Mixon at the top. But I'll start with you, Noto. Who did you write up for your key personnel at the running back position this week?
Yeah, so I do like Alvin Kamara. I have him tagged. I think small field stuff, it makes a lot of sense. And man, if Taysom Hill is going to be 25%, I'm fine fading him in lieu of Alvin Kamara. Like you mentioned, he just hasn't been scoring touchdowns, but the workload's been there. I like the matchup at home. And yeah, I think that game has some shootout potential for sure. Now that Stafford has all of his weapons back, I think they're going to put up some points. And whether they're winning or trailing, Kamara is going to get a lot of work. So I like him. Love the Mixon call. He's the other guy that I have tagged on DraftKings. The Jaguars, they've just been terrible against the run, especially the last 6 weeks or so. And Mixon's getting 25 touches a game. It's really hard to ignore that. And, I think he's probably my favorite play at the position. A couple other lower-owned guys that I don't mind looking to. Kenneth Walker against the Jets. We've seen New York just struggle against the run all season. Doesn't look like a ton of people are going to be playing Walker this week, having about 10% ownership. And then large field stuff, Jonathan Taylor, kind of a pivot away from Anthony Richardson. I know he gets very little work in the passing game, but good matchup against the Patriots. So I think he could be kind of sneaky in tournaments.
Bobo.
Yeah, for me, I think the best chalk's Chase Brown. He's definitely the chalk that I want to play, followed by Kamara, Bijan, and Bucky Irving in that order. For tournaments, I like the Kenneth Walker call a good bit. Definitely don't mind attacking the Jets' run defense, so I'm fine with that. I like Gus Edwards as well, going up against Atlanta. I think he's interesting. Jonathan Taylor versus the Patriots, who do not have a good defense, even though they probably should, but their coach stinks, so it is what it is. Aaron Jones is another guy I think that stands out versus Arizona, so these are like GPP running backs I have interest in. Brian Robinson Jr. versus Tennessee. Yeah, we don't want to attack Tennessee. I know Brian Robinson didn't have a great game last weekend. I think didn't he get hurt or he was knocked out of the game, but fine going back to him. And that's pretty much it for tournament plays. I guess James Conner's another one you can throw in there.
Contract extension for my boy. They just gave him $19 million for another.
Who, Connor?
Yeah, just announced this morning.
Nice.
But
draft a running back and then give your starting running back $19 million.
It's over 2 years, I think, so I don't think it was too bad. I didn't read it closely. Aaron Jones, I like that call. Looks like he's completely back, healthy. 22 rushing attempts, 100 rushing yards last week against the Bears. Did get a touchdown. Also had 4 targets, 3 receptions. Home favorite. 22nd DVP matchup per Noto's first look that he puts out there. I always look at that page and just to kind of see quickly who are some of the best matchups may be. And I'll dig in. But absolutely like Aaron Jones. I think he's running away with this. As long as he's healthy, he's the guy. 6,500 feels like a steal to me. So I'm on board there. Any other flyers here? TJ, what do you got? Are you you're tapping out because of the neck? Your neck okay?
Yeah, I'm battling. I took some painkillers. I got some rub that I put on the back of it, so I'm hanging in there. It's better today than it was yesterday. At quarterback, I think I'm just because I'm a little bit shell shocked lately about how often I've tried to fade some chalky plays and then the chalk just goes off on Thanksgiving. And it just absolutely shattered me. I think I'm going to build a cash style lineup just so I can play Herbert with a McConkey stack and Drake London or Bijan on the other side, just because Herbert's coming in looking really good, but also projecting for crazy high ownership. But then to differentiate, I don't really know how I want to go about it yet. I don't mind some of the cheap options, like taking a shot on Young, Levis, Carr, Geno Smith, Richardson's picking up ownership, but the other guys are all getting essentially none.
Guys, we caught TJ. We caught TJ not listening to us. Just kind of throw it out there. We're on the running back.
You asked me who
we're on the running back position.
Oh, Yeah, I was listening. I just
TJ feeling those muscle relaxers instead of
It's all right.
I
You
guess
gotta-
so, right? No, I was listening and I just kind of forgot. But I have a tight running back pool today. I feel a lot better about running back than I do quarterback. I agree with the Chase Brown and Bucky Irving takes. Alvin Kamara and Mixon I also love. So all the guys that the show has tagged, I'm big on today. And then Aaron Jones, Jonathan Taylor, Bijan, and Kyron, I think, are the only other guys I really want to take tournament shots on. I'll probably include Gus Edwards just because of how chalky Herbert is, but not because I want to play him.
All right. And I just want to reiterate my love for Mixon. If he and Saquon are still the clear top running backs this season. And he had an off game against Tennessee. But this is a solid matchup for him. And, Jacksonville has just been pathetic, period. And I'm not sure what to expect from them this week with Lawrence coming back. Anyways, like all those plays, so let's now talk about our QBs. Really, chalk doesn't matter, but Herbert is kind of pulling away from everybody because of this matchup with Atlanta. Also, the fact that Dobbins went down. He started off the game on prime time with a rushing touchdown. He's been rushing more lately, and with Dobbins out, it just makes sense that he'll be rushing even more. So I get it. Plus, he's dirt cheap at 5,600, and matchup with Atlanta in the Dome. So I get it. I like it. Not for tournaments. I'll probably try to beat it, but we'll see. Anthony Richardson, man. He's going to be popular, and he should be, but it's all, he's flashed his floor in 2 out of the 3 games, and it's all about rushing floor. So he's got in his last 2 games, 10 rushing attempts, 61 yards and 32 yards. But he is rushing more. It was a tough matchup against Detroit. I'll give him that. But, it's boom or bust with this guy. We're going to get that rushing floor. Now, rushing touchdowns would be nice. Also, it'd be nice if he would hit some of his deep balls. And this may be a good spot against New England, although the weather, what do we have? Is it just going to be cold, or do we have anything going on here in New England this weekend? I should know, but I haven't looked at the weather. Let me check Roth here.
Right now.
Yeah. So Roth, he doesn't, there's nothing to worry about. Just going to be a little bit cold.
It's cold today, I can tell you that much.
Yeah. 35, no wind.
Yeah, it's fine. No big deal. No big deal. All right. So like him, Sam Darnold is getting a lot of love this week. Home favorite against Arizona. And it's because people want to play Justin Jefferson, bounce back after one of his worst games, maybe even ever, 4.7 fantasy points against the Bears. So this is a perfect bounce back spot for him against Arizona. So I get that. And then there's also Stafford, right? Easy in the Dome in New Orleans. Easy to pair with Puka and Kupp, or one or the other, or both. There's Joe Burrow on this passing offense, Cincinnati, and also with Chase is kind of electric through the as a pass catching back too when needed. And then there's Drake May maybe to discuss, Jaden Daniels, Bryce Young. People are going to be playing because he's cheap in that matchup with Tampa, and he flashed. He looked pretty good against Kansas City, so I get that. But he's still cheap. He's still Bryce Young, and he still has some chalk, questionable receiving plays that we will get to. And I'm so interested to hear everybody's thoughts there. But Bobby, quarterback pool, who's standing out to you?
Yeah, for me, Matt Stafford seems like the guy I'm gonna be overweight to. Versus the Saints, like the game environment in a dome, like his receivers, Puka, Cooper, Kupp. Fine with any of those guys for sure. I think the run backs of like Kamara and Taysom Hill are fine. Interesting decision point again this week with Kamara and Taysom Hill. What are you going to do? Because $5K for Taysom, 7,700 for Kamara. You got to admit, you have to figure they're going to negatively correlate. So I don't know, but definitely like the Rams think I have interest in Cincinnati as well versus the Steelers. Chase Brown's going to be chalk, so I don't mind the passing game, getting to Chase, getting to T. Higgins. I do like Chase Brown in a passing, like as a pass catching back, so it makes me fine to play Burrow with Chase Brown, but yeah, I like Burrow stacks a good bit. Who else is there that really interests me? I played Geno last week. I don't really mind going back there versus the Jets.
Little revenge.
And Jackson Smith and Jigba. Geno throws the ball at a pretty high rate, so I'm fine with Geno Smith. CJ Stroud, if you don't want to play Mixon, and they're playing a man defense versus Jacksonville, and they could get absolutely shredded. If people are going to go to Mixon and you just play Stroud in the passing game. I know Stroud hasn't been great. Literally all year he's been terrible, but no one's covering Nico Collins one-on-one, I can tell you that much. Same thing with Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz. So Stroud, I think, is a really good play in tournaments. And yeah, that's kind of it. That's kind of where I'm at. Maybe you could force some Drake May. I wouldn't do it. They're terrible. Tried it last week. Do not do it. Don't do it to yourself. It's the coach. It isn't May. It's the coaching staff is horrific. And then Baker, you could play Baker and Mike Evans, like we kind of talked at the top of the show.
Noto.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Drake May, but Bobby shut me down before I got there. Anytime you get, I don't know, a home matchup against the Colts, I'll have a little interest. I do think, Anthony Richardson projected for one of the highest home guys. I just don't think a lot of people want to play him. No Josh Downs. I let everyone down last week against Detroit. I'm going right back to the well. Like you mentioned, Kirk, we kind of play him for that rushing upside, and he's had 10, 10, 6, and 14 carries over the last 4 weeks. So I think Richardson's my favorite play, but I am going to try to build some Jalen Hurts lineups. Once again, against that pass funnel defense, against the Ravens. That game, again, has some serious shootout potential. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball very well. And Saquon's kind of been stealing a lot of Hurts' production in the last few weeks. So 7,700, it's kind of tough to get up there on a week like this, but he's projecting for less than 5% ownership. I like stacking it with A.J. Brown. And then I'll probably play some Bryce Young because I'm a sucker for those really cheap quarterbacks.
Yes, you are. And I like Drake May personally, but I also like A-Rich, and I like A-Rich better. I think that there's a huge difference going from the Detroit Lions defense to the Patriots defense. I think you're going to sure, in New England, it can be a little tough, but I think that
Are you stacking him with Pittman or what, or just solo?
No, we're going either Pittman or we're going down to AD Mitchell, who's got like some insane matchup according to some other people. So
he was really good last time. Was it Downs or Pittman was out? He had a big game.
Yeah. So we're looking for him to break one, and he's like 3,900, I think. He's the pivot off of David Moore. So I like that. I wanted to touch on
Hurts at all.
Yeah. Yes. Love him.
Nobody's talking about him.
I know, because Saquon just stole all the thunder.
I guess if you're flipping the build, it's fine, but
and I think it can easily be done because you're going to have to pay. You're going to pay for AJ Brown. I take it.
Yeah,
you're thinking. Yeah, but there's cheap wide. There's like the cheap mid-range wide receiver ones that I love every week. Like Calvin Ridley, those types of guys that you can easily make the build, and maybe you don't. And I'm fine fading Kamara, as I said, like going down. You can get like Aaron Jones for 6,500. You can make that build work. We'll try. We'll try. I think that's going to be our build. We'll see how we'll build it on the show. See how we can make that work. But I'm on board for sure. Like I said, like the Ravens, it's just a pass funnel. They've just been stopping the run, so you just gotta hope that a lot less Saquon this game and some tush pushes. It's nice little tush pushes.
Yep.
I want to talk about Taysom because Bobby mentioned it. I'm going to be fully on board with Taysom. So the way I'm looking at it everyone's going to go on. There's going to be a million people that are going to try to talk you out of playing Taysom Hill. He's chalk. He's the easiest fade ever. That was such a fluke last game, but was it such a fluke? So let's go back to week 9 where he had 16 fantasy points. And let's follow up to week 10 where he in Atlanta and he had 7. It looks like a clear bust, but he had an 88-yard touchdown turned back. And then, yes, obviously last week is a fluke, 46 fantasy points. You don't have to expect that. It was just absolutely insane. But he got 10 freaking targets, 7 freaking rushes. He's a tight end. I mean, that's elite running back production, like absolutely elite. Not to mention, he might throw a touchdown pass in this game, and he's got the coach speak behind him, and he's only 5K, and you're doing all this with a tight end position. So I think he's a good play personally. But maybe I'll dig my own grave there. It'll blow up in my face, but I don't know. So I like that play, but sorry to get a little off tangent there.
Did have a question about Will Levis stack? Any interest there? I probably won't do it.
I mean, he's chucking, and he's been a little bit better, and it's Calvin Ridley's an easy pairing.
How's Marshawn been since he joined Washington? Do we know?
I mean, has he even played?
I know he sat out the first game. I don't know about last week.
I don't know. I may be wrong on this, so don't.
I guess they lost.
Chat. I don't think he's played, but maybe I'm wrong. But I don't think he's made that good of a mark if we don't even know if he's played. Anyways, all right. Any last flyers for you guys? Should we talk about Baker?
Maybe
Bobby
Burrow.
mentioned Baker.
I mentioned Baker. Yeah, I don't hate Baker.
Like all those Cincy guys are popping, and Burrow's not, which is kind of interesting.
So I hit on Burrow too.
That's how I won the slate a couple weeks ago. Was just play like a higher priced Burrow when some of his receivers were popping. Yeah, people don't do that, but they should be because he's doesn't run much. And Pitt's a little bit scary of a matchup, but this is just a high-powered offense that is going to be passing. So, yeah, I like Burrow. I guess my son does too.
And my son as well. Did you guys hear that?
Triple the Noto's son? Can we ask him?
He's not here this week.
Both my kids are just going crazy in the background.
All right. Wide receivers. So T. Higgins is going to be chalk because he gets wide receiver 1 production because all the focus has been on Chase. Like anytime he's been out, he got 13 targets last week, 148 yards, a touchdown. They're not going to stop going to him, but obviously it could be a Chase game. So that's a way to play it in tournaments. It's 2K more for Jamar Chase. So obviously Higgins just looks like a much superior play, especially he's been out producing him, but it wouldn't shock me at all if Jamar Chase is the guy, or it wouldn't shock anybody, I'm sure, against Pitt. David Moore, 3,500. Now he's what is he, the wide receiver 2 or 3 for Carolina? 2. Thielen's probably the third. Thielen's probably the third, but trying to work his way back. But and this guy has been around. I remember playing this guy for 3,500 on the Seahawks.
Yeah.
For a long time, and I think I think I caught a touchdown with him one time or something. It worked, But athletic guy, but hasn't really done much in the NFL. But did have a good game last week. Did have 10 targets, 81 yards, and a touchdown. I think they threw to him 4 times in the end zone. So for 3,500, he's going to be your chalk. Man, I like Leggett so much more. Like just trying to find like I said, I'll play A.D. Mitchell if I need to for 3,900 over him. Personally, I just think there's so much variance in him at this level of ownership that I don't want to be involved personally, but I'll let you guys talk there. But Lad McConkey, Puka Nacua, I love Calvin Ridley as always. Mike Evans is there. Justin Jefferson, Brian Thomas. There's so many different good plays. So, Bobby, start us off here, Noto, start us off. I think I went to Bobby last time, and tell me who your favorites are.
Yeah, I love Puka Nacua. When he's been on the field with Cooper Kupp this year, he's had a much higher target rate, much higher air yard share. You can obviously play Cooper Kupp too, but yeah, ever since the Saints traded away Marshawn Lattimore, their secondary's been really bad. So I love that. Love the game in the dome. I really like Brian Thomas for the Jaguars, hoping to get Trevor Lawrence back. The usage metric has been great all year. It looks like Evan Ingram's kind of going to be popular, but if you look at the Texans defense, they're one of the best against tight ends, and they're one of the worst against wide receivers. So I love the spot for.
He's the quintessential Kirk wide receiver one for cheap play. So he's right up my alley.
Perfect. And then, yeah, I have David Moore tagged, but I don't mind going to A.D. Mitchell instead if I end up playing Richardson as my quarterback. So kind of with you there, Bobby or Kirky. And then again, A.J. Brown. Love A.J. Brown. He gets that pass funnel defense. If Devontae's back, he's actually averaged 6 more fantasy points per game over the last 3 seasons when Devontae's been in the lineup rather than out of the lineup. So kind of similar to the Chase Burrow stuff or Chase Higgins stuff where sometimes when your other wide receiver that's really good ends up being out, you just end up getting double covered. And so hopefully Brown will have some deep shots down the field. I like Mike Evans against Carolina. He played on, I think he ran around on 57% of dropbacks last week. And that number is probably going to go up against a really bad Carolina defense. You can, bring it back with the Bryce Young, David Moore stack or something like that. And I don't know what to do with the Jets. How are you guys playing them? I never get them right.
There's no team in football that has cost me more money over my lifetime than betting on the New York Jets. Every single which way. DFS, betting, everything. And I have personal stories to it. I'm not going to get into it. But, yeah, unfortunate. So I think I'm just done with that team. But also, I mean, with Brees – he's banged up, but I guess he's fine now. All of a sudden, like he went into the bye with some knee issues, and I guess it was he's had knee issues in the past. I think he had a surgery, but I haven't looked into it too much. But I guess he's fine, ready to go. But man, Aaron Rodgers sucks. He stinks. Period.
Yeah,
I think.
I was just looking at the weather report. That game has like the worst wind, too. Kenneth Walker week.
Yeah, I'm with you there on that one. What are you liking, Bobby?
I like T. Higgins, 6,600. I know he's going to be chalky, but I'm fine playing him. I'll differentiate him with Burrow stacks. Noah Brown at 4,400. Hopefully we can get some lower ownership on Brown. I know it's against Tennessee, tough pass defense, but Daniels was going there a bunch last week, so I'm fine with it. Chalk David Moore. I like David Moore as a player, but as chalk, if he's going to get too chalky, I'm probably going to be under that. Puka Nacua. I think he's fine. Probably play him around the field. Like the Ram stack, so maybe I get a little bit more of him. Michael Pittman. One of these indie receivers is going to kill the Patriots this week, whether it's Pittman or Adonai Mitchell.
They might both.
I don't know how much I like playing them together, though. That's the one thing.
Well, they're so cheap, though. So let's talk about this range. Like, look at this range. Like, this is right up my alley. Like, Pittman, 5,200. Like, how hard is it to find 1,700 more than David Moore to get to like Pittman or Leggett or any of these like 5K guys? It's not that freaking hard. We can do it at the running back position.
Yeah, I don't disagree. If you want to get off David Moore, I think that makes sense. It's just a matter of like Richardson not being able to throw to 2 receivers. Can Richardson make 2 receivers work? That's what my issue is. Like,
yeah, that's
what my issue is.
And if he does, it's probably going to be a deep shot to Alec Pierce.
I will say that is I could see, like, I know that I'm talking about Adonai Mitchell and Michael Pittman Jr., but the Pierce touchdown, I think, could happen tomorrow. It just would make sense versus the Patriots. Cooper Kupp, Brian Thomas, Mike Evans. Think these guys are all in play. Guys I'll be targeting tomorrow. George Pickens as well. Cincinnati. I'm going to need my Cincinnati run back. I think Pickens makes sense versus the Bengals. And 6,800, I'm fine paying that price tag. Demarcus Robinson for 4K in my St. Louis stacks versus the Saints. I just think he's someone who could get lost in the shuffle, and I definitely can play him because I do like Stafford, and the game environment should be pretty great. Nico Collins is someone I'm going to be over as well. Jamar Chase, obviously, if I'm playing the Bengals stacks. That's pretty much it, though. I'm trying to
I have the
make
hardest time with Lad McConkey chalk. What are you guys doing there?
I'll be under on Lad.
I just think they're going to pass more this game. They're going to have to pass more.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Gus the Bus is going to be ripping it up.
Did Quentin Johnson have a bagel last week?
He was so okay. At times we liked him this season on this thing, and we thought maybe his coaching change is what he needed, and he was electric. But now he is in the he just stinks category. He just dropped. He had made so many easy bonehead drops. It was just incredible.
Yeah. What about Justin Jefferson?
Of course.
He just hasn't had a ceiling game. It's kind of weird.
A little squeaky wheel this week. My question is: are there any there's plenty of cheap Patriots wide receivers?
The booty experiment's over for me.
Can we play any of these guys if we like this game environment?
I like Hunter Henry.
Yeah, I can see that.
I
Bobby,
don't
you got
really.
any
I have
Pat
zero
picks?
interest outside of Henry, probably.
All right, Henry it is. What
Feel
else?
bad, Greg May. It's just going to be miserable. They got to fire Mayo immediately. It's just my thought process on it.
I haven't even paid attention to them this season at all. I could care less about them.
Yeah. Just go out and get Ben Johnson. Someone if they need Ben Johnson. Just get a competent offensive coordinator with a young QB. It makes so much sense.
All right, any other out there plays?
Not really.
I'm looking at low ownership.
Zay
Yeah,
Flowers?
that's exactly what I was saying. That's where I was looking at ownership and saying that 6,200 Zay Flowers in this game with the highest total that we think is going to shoot out both directions, and he's anywhere from 5 to 12% owned depending on where you're looking.
I'm fine with Flowers.
What about Marvin Harrison? Feels like a good. Minnesota is just terrible against wide receivers.
How low is he projected? Got to be extreme. I'm seeing from my ag of a bunch of everybody from in the industry. I got him at 3.5% ownership. 6K. He's right in that range of what I like. So he's in.
They've allowed the second most fantasy points to receivers. I don't know.
Let's do it.
He just hasn't been getting the targets.
Yeah. And Kyler's been so erratic. And he's just busy throwing it to McBride out every play. Yeah, I think we've got a good mix there. I'll just leave it at this. I love all these guys from 5 to 6K in that range because I think the upside, the ceiling on some of these guys is a lot higher for that price and can ship tournaments with. So that's where I'm going to be focusing in on. And like I said, I just think it's easy to get off of David Moore and pay up for get to Pittman, get to good wide receivers. All right, let's go over to tight end. I already gave my little spiel on Taysom. Evan Ingram is going to be a target monster, but kind of low ADOT stuff now. But 4,800 projects well. Trey McBride always gets the volume. Hasn't had a single touchdown this week. I think he's like a top 3 tight end this season or something. Top 3 or top 5, something like that, and hasn't scored a single touchdown besides a touchdown pass. He did recover one, I think. But if he has some touchdown regression hits, he could be good. Hawkinson is in play. We talked about Hunter Henry. Dallas Goedert makes some sense in that game. He kind of flopped in the same situation without Devontae Smith in the last game against the Rams. Yeah, he only had 5 targets, 4 receptions, less than 20 yards. But makes sense that he could get a lot more usage in this game. And then I don't know, Will Dissly, guys like that. Who are you liking, Bobby?
I'm going to Taysom. Because I want to get leverage off Kamara Chalk. I'm going to play Taysom. Going to go back to Zach Ertz. 3,800 every week. I'm fine playing him. Well, it's TJ Hawkinson. I like Minnesota. Like targeting Arizona. Don't mind TJ Hawkinson. Hunter Henry. Great. Another New England Patriot I can play. I don't love it, but I'll be playing it.
Can I just stop us for a second and realize where we've come to in DFS? We have just started off with Zach Ertz, Taysom Hill, and Hunter Henry. If we heard these names last season, we'd be like, nope, I would never play Taysom Hill. I would never play. It's just crazy what's happened this year.
You don't have a choice. Yeah, you don't really have a choice. So. How about Kyle Pitts? Could you ever go back to Kyle Pitts versus the Chargers? Yeah.
Yes.
600.
I've yet to play him this year.
He's going to be like 2% owned.
My little guy, K. Dotton. Look, if he was this price if Godwin got hurt last week and we're just thinking of him at this price against the worst defense in the NFL against tight ends, 4,500 without Godwin, we'd sign up for it. He had one bad game. I think it's a good bounce back spot for him.
Yeah, he was sticking out to me as well. Since he's been an incredible tight end matchup, can we go to
Wilson just hates throwing over the middle of the field.
My boy Freiermuth for 3,500.
He's been pretty bad with Russ. Guess he had 4 catches last week.
59 yards. We're talking now. They made Will Dissly look like Gronk.
Prior to that, 2 receptions, 3 receptions, 2 receptions, 2 receptions. So he's got to find an end zone, but he could do it.
He's trending up. He's trending up. No.
You're right. Tight end, if you can find the touchdown, that's all you need, really.
Maybe I'll play him.
Yeah, Goddard. If Devontae's out, maybe Mark Andrews on the other side.
Yeah.
I think if you need a full-out punt, you could go Tommy Tremble at 2.8K.
Is he getting? Oh, Jatavian's out. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
You like that, but you don't like my Freiermuth.
Russ just loves throwing outside the numbers. I don't.
What about Schultz, 3,300?
Yeah, he's never done it, but
No, he hasn't done it all year.
Yeah, that's the problem. But it's Jacksonville. It's a thinned out. They don't have all the weapons.
Touchdown to the backup tight end the other last slate. It was last slate. First, Stroud threw a touchdown to the tight end backup. I was trying to play. I had Schultz in a lot of my Nico stacks.
Yep. Yeah, it's not a bad play by any means. All right. We got any defensive love? Either of you guys?
It's Bobby's segment. We'll let him have the first crack.
I feel like on a holiday weekend, Bobby's not in.
I'm gonna go Jaguars 2,300.
Low as you can go. How low can you go?
If not Patriots 2,500.
Yeah, that would make sense if Richardson has a bad game, if they get to him. Sam Darnold blow up against the Cardinals, throw a nice little pick six.
Yeah.
I think that
Could be the
works.
Colts against Drake May. 2800 Jets. Can we get? I mean, we finally have like a bunch of cheap options. We've got Patriots, Jags, Cardinals, Jets, Colts, all cheapish. Roulette. Just play whatever fits.
Don't mind the Rams, 2,700.
Commanders 3,400. You're paying up. I don't know.
Yeah, why not? All right, let's build a lineup, boys. I think we have to. We said we would do it. We have to do a little stack in this Philly Ravens game. And are we gonna do the Hurt side, Noto?
Yeah.
So does that mean we're gonna have to play AJ Brown?
Yeah.
Okay. So those are two. Bobby, you got the board here.
Yep.
You could do a run back on Baltimore, or you can just play whoever your favorite plays are.
Run back. Let's do Zay Flowers.
All right. I am gonna put in Aaron Jones, who I love, who will probably get hurt because every time I love that guy, he gets injured in games. But my kid likes him, so let's go. That's good. Running back play, Bobby and Noto.
How much salary do we have?
We're probably pretty good right now. Until we go Chase Brown.
I have Taysom as a cheap flex in there for you guys right now, but he could be taken out right now. There's 4K remaining per position.
No, we're keeping Taysom because we're fading Kamara. Let's go Chase Brown chalk. It doesn't matter. This isn't going to be a chalky build.
I don't know.
What about Gus Edwards?
I have to go Gus and 80 Mitchell. Or Brown and 80 Mitchell.
Chase Brown works if you go maybe. Yeah, you'd have to go to afford a David Moore. You'd have to go to the Panthers or Jaguars defense. So if we like Jaguar,
we can't fit Pats.
No.
All right, so we're gonna go. So forget Chase. So we're gonna have to go cheaper.
What about
let Bucky Irving?
Yeah.
Bucky Irving.
Gus Edwards over Aaron Jones. No Gus Edwards. No interest in Gus Edwards.
No passing game work. I mean,
for what it's worth, I know you don't want to sacrifice Aaron Jones, but if you dropped Aaron Jones instead of Chase Brown to Bucky Irving, then you could afford kind of any of the cheap receivers and any of the cheap defenses you want.
I'm fine either, but so let's go Bucky Irving 50. Bucky Irving, then either Chase Brown or Aaron Jones.
Yeah, and then if you could either go like Aaron Jones, David Moore, or 80 Mitchell, Chase Brown, leaves you some options there.
Yeah, we'll do 80 Mitchell, Chase Brown. Although we're not supposed to say, is that what we're doing here?
No, that works because still left the defense open, and I took it off the screen, so worked out well.
All right, there we go. And the Don says Gus is washed. So if the Don says it, Jug Nation member, actually Jug Nation. Vice President of Jug Nation, the Don has become recently. I didn't announce that yet. I was going to save it for Grinders live show, but fighting over the holiday weekend to get that out. But all right, so that's a wrap. A little early this week. Any final words for the people, boys?
No, that's it. Good luck this weekend, guys.
Yeah, Hurts the Brown, wins the Slate.
Give me a woo, fellas. I started it. You guys end it.
Woo!
Woo!
This has been the RGDFS Tournament Takes Podcast Week 13 edition. We'll be back next week. Woo!